Hi, I'm Jessica coming to you live from Nautilus Mission Control at the Inner Space Center in Rhode Island. And we're very excited to be here today with student Argonauts Devyn and Tashawn and teacher Argonaut Lucinda. And they're joining us from the control van on board the exploration vessel, the Nautilus, which is currently in transit between Crete, an island in Greece, and Palermo, Italy. For the next 20 minutes or so, they'll be answering your questions live. So if you have any questions for them, feel free to type them in, along with your name and the state where you live, in the window to the right. Now that we have mediators here who will be choosing the best questions, and I'll be passing them along. Also, keep in mind that they're about 5,000 miles away, so there's going to be a slight delay between my question and their answer. All right, so let's get started. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And I wanted to start by asking you, what have you been up to so far on the Nautilus?
Well, we've been doing a lot of different things. We've been actually seeing some of the videos with Herc. We've actually been working a little bit with Herc. We haven't been able to see any dives, sadly, because they didn't have authorization at the time we were here. We've been checking things out in the control panels. We've been eating some of the cook Jeff's food. And we even got to make a little Secchi disc and put it down in the water and see about how far it went down.
Awesome, and I've got a question that came in from you from the Boys and Girls Clubs of SJC. And they want to know, what is the boat like?
Well, the boat is wonderful. It's something different, way different from land. Of course, we're moving, motion sickness, Dramamine I have been using it non-stop. But it's wonderful to see the beautiful view, to see the sea, the wonderful, beautiful blue water. How is it go fast? But it's beautiful.
Awesome, and Randy in Maine would like to ask you, how many people are on board the ship?
The boat can actually hold about 48 crew members, but there's actually about 35 right now.
And what did you all have to do to prepare to come on board the Nautilus?
We had to do a lot of things, many things, including essays, staying up all night on, let's say, youve, and making interviews, answering questions. It was actually a lot of hard work, but it was worth it. Of course, having this wonderful opportunity, and it led up to just having fun.
Some other things that we actually had to do before coming onto the Nautilus itself was we had to make sure we had all our shots. We had to sign a lot of legal papers, and we had to do a lot of different stuff just to make sure we were prepared for the ship and make sure we had enough stuff to bring on board, and any medication or allergy things we needed were with us.
And I've got a question for you, Devyn, specifically from Megan from Holy Trinity, Texas. And she asks, what has been your favorite part of being an Argonaut?
Hello, Megan. Being an Argonaut, the favorite part, let's see, exploring different parts. It was amazing coming on board, because you would think that there's just one person controlling the ship, you know, steering. But actually, you get to see behind the scenes that there are scientists, and that there are a lot of factors, you know, coming that are put together to, you know, control Herc and Argus.
And a question just came in from the Boys and Girls Clubs of SJC, and they want to know, what types of instruments are you using?
We are using many different types of instruments, including mainly computers, because we get to look up data, and we're actually mostly not using we're not using a lot of tools. We're more of watching and learning rather than, you know, doing first-hand stuff. But we did use, let's see, a Secchi disc to, you know, lower into the water. So those are some of the materials.
Very cool.
And the disc and bottle.
Very cool. And Michael has a question for you. Has anyone been feeling seasick?
Yeah, a few people have been feeling seasick on board, mainly Devyn, really seasick. She's been taking a lot of Dramamine, a lot, and sleeping here as much as she can. So yeah, it gets really bad for her.
It was definitely an adjustment first couple nights that we were here.
That's too bad to hear. I'm sorry about that. Someone in Virginia has asked, how did you feel when you were told you could be an Argo?
I was just absolutely ecstatic. I couldn't believe they actually chose me, because there's so many different people they could actually choose from. So to find out that I was one of the people chosen was amazing. I was just blown away.
Definitely an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. It's really exciting that you guys can be out there. Cindy from Maine has a question. She says, I know it's late. How do you keep yourselves energized?
One way we keep ourselves energized, actually the way I did, was since we didn't have too much of a workload today because they knew we were going to have to be staying up so late, is I actually got a lot of extra sleep than I didn't usually get on the rest of the days here. But actually being energized was a problem for me yesterday because I stayed up until like 2 in the morning and had to get back up at 6, and I was a zombie for most of the day. But it was really, it's just basically sleep as much as you possibly can, but without missing too much either, because you know you're on a ship, you're on the Nautilus, and you can't risk missing something. It's a really great opportunity.
And I hear you guys had a swim call earlier. What was that like?
That was amazing. Devyn actually didn't have the guts to go in, but my mom finally eventually got back in there. I was able to jump off twice, and it was so much fun. The salinity was really high though, so it was very salty and it stung your eyes, but it was really great for being able to float easier, and it was a really great experience. And we actually had a few waterproof cameras under there taking pictures under the water. It was amazing being able to jump into the Mediterranean Sea off the Nautilus.
There could have been sharks.
Well, I'm glad there were no sharks. So Max from Virginia has a question, wants to know how many ROVs are diving now?
We actually don't have any ROVs diving at the moment. We do have Argus and Hercules on board. We were able to take a tour and see all the tools and learn a lot about all the things that go into actually navigating the ROVs, but we haven't gotten the chance to see them actually dive into the water since we've been on the boat.
And actually, they are going to try and do a dive tomorrow. Sadly, after we're off the ship already, but they are going to be doing a dive tomorrow, as I was recently informed. The only reason they haven't done one yet is because they don't have any permission to be in these, to put something in the water yet. Otherwise, they would have.
I've got a related question about the ROVs from Jacob in Maine. Wants to know how many people does it take to control Hercules?
Hello, Jacob. Actually, I don't want to give you an exact answer and be wrong, but judging by the amount of computers in the room, I would say 7, because you have scientists, you have the control person, you have different people, and I think it takes just teamwork all together. And I think it doesn't matter the amount of people, but you have to be able to communicate and know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of information on all of the ROVs on the website nautiluslive.org, so you can check that out for more information there. I've got a question now from Leanne, who wants to know, are you working with our awesome Holland Meadows teacher, Jason Pittman?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Me and Jason, we're yeah, he'll tell you about it when he gets back. He's really awesome. He was actually on earlier today, which I assume you saw. He's a great guy. He's actually one of my favorite Argos right now. Him and another one who wasn't on board actually, which was kind of sad. But no, yeah, Jason's a really great guy, and it was wonderful working with him.
Cool. Well, Megan from Holy Trinity now wants to know, when will you be arriving in Italy?
Well, actually, we should be arriving at Italy, and we should be arriving in Italy tomorrow morning, and we should actually be getting off the boat, sadly.
Yeah, we have right after breakfast, and then we have to leave. We were actually a few hours ahead of schedule, so we actually stopped for a little bit, and that's when we had our swim call, which was kind of a good thing, honestly, because if not, we might not have had that.
Well, I know we'll all be sad to see you go. Sophie from Massachusetts wants to know, what's the most surprising / interesting thing you've learned about the Mediterranean on this voyage?
For myself, when I went swimming, I was actually afraid to go swimming this afternoon at first, and with lots of encouragement from everybody else that was already swimming in the Mediterranean, I did jump in, but from a lower ladder, and I did drink a lot of water. I wouldn't recommend that when I jumped in, and it was extremely, extremely salty.
We've got a question now from Katie, who says, congratulations on being selected for this wonderful opportunity. I'm curious how you learned about the Jason project and why you believe you were selected. For instance, something you had already done or an expressed interest in science, research, oceanography, adventure.
Well, thank you, Katie. We actually, in a previous competition, we actually won regionals in Chicago. We all were on the team. And it was just an amazing experience. Actually, that's what started my interest. Starting out there, we were in an ROV competition, won regionals, then we went to Massachusetts, and we actually, being the youngest there, we won like 3 or 4 awards, so that was amazing. And from then on, I think that what actually led us into, more, information in the Jason project, that put something to it.
Also, Lucinda over here had actually run immersions while myself and Devyn were in it, and it was also a big boost right there. And one of the head people of Jason was helping us out with immersions, and she had already left Jason, but now she's still with immersions, and her name is Laura Batt, and she's actually the one who informed us about the opportunity, and we applied through the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, congratulations on your big win. That sounds great. Alan now wants to know, how much fun do you have with other students?
A lot. Just other student Argos, it's been great working with some of them. We got to see a lot of them more at boot camp, and that was just really, 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 really fun. We had this kid named Colin who seemed to know every word to Hannah Montana and Katy Perry songs, and he'd be there with dance moves, just like as though he practiced them in the mirror beforehand, which is a little creepy. And we had another guy named Daryl who was just a really, really awesome guy. He come from like more of a disadvantaged neighborhood, and he actually talked to us about how he wanted to bring it back to his community. He actually already has, if it's my understanding correctly, he did a few presentations for them, and really great job, Daryl. And we had a few other people that were real fun too.
Well, I'm glad you guys have been having such a good time. That sounds awesome. John now wants to know, do you think this experience will make you want to become a scientist?
John, extremely. It's amazing because I wanted to be a lawyer, but I can see how many things tie into science where I can use the work field of science and tie that into being a lawyer. It's just amazing.
Yes, I would like to add to that, John. Before coming here, I obviously it was one of the plans, but it's been moved up the list after all of this. I really want to try and see if I can go out to California and do some engineering things so I could come back as an ROV pilot. I actually got to talk to one of the ROV pilots named Ben here, and I had a nice long conversation with him, and he helped us out with a few things for the next year's competition. And we had a nice conversation, and he said he'd go ahead and, if I'm ever out by California, he'd talk to me more about that and show us some stuff.
That means we're gonna win.
Well, I've got a somewhat related question for you from Jimmy in San Diego, who wants to know, what courses of study might you pursue after this amazing experience?
Well, Jenny, my high school actually offers marine biology, so next year I'm already ready to be enrolled in that. And going on to college, I'd probably go into some more engineering, like electrical engineering. I know that's what Ben actually did, so until he became a ROV pilot.
And how does one apply to become an Argonaut?
Well, you visit www.jason.org, and they should release the application sometime in December. And you just have to go through the application process, which basically includes 2 or 3 essays, and then another 2 or 3 recommendations, and also a vlog, which is basically a video interview, saying and showing that you can be on camera without being too camera shy and stuff like that. And as long as you do that all well, it's a pretty good chance you'll be in. Peter was actually saying he wasn't necessarily looking for straight A students, but more people that have a real genuine interest in science. So don't be intimidated if you're not the best student out there, because I know personally I'm not.
And to add to that, you also have to have confidence. I mean, going into this, I was thinking, I'm tired, I'm coming home late from school, you know, I have homework, and I had other things to do. But if you really put your mind to it and you know that this is something that you really want to do in the future, you have to be confident and stay focused on this certain thing.
And Zoe in Florida now wants to know, how long will you be at port in Palermo?
I believe they're only going to be at port for the afternoon. I may be incorrect, but I believe they're only going to be in port for the afternoon this time, but they're going to be out for another week or so and then come back into Palermo, and then they're going to head over in other directions. I don't want to be incorrect and tell you those.
And now Maddie and Morgan from West Virginia say, how do you get the things you need, like clothes and soap?
Well, soap was provided for us. It was a very good thing that it was. But we also had to bring our own clothes and our own little body wash and stuff like that, just in case they didn't, because we didn't know beforehand that they'd have some. And obviously travel size, because getting through airport security is a slight pain when it comes to that type of thing.
And I've got another question from Megan from Holy Trinity, Texas. I'm currently thinking about applying to be a student Argo when I'm old enough. Do you have any advice for myself and others who are thinking about applying to be a student Argo?
Hello, Megan, again. Well, when you reach a certain age, actually this is a good opportunity for you, because you actually are listening already, and you get to see the ideas and how we have already went through it. So you leading up to this is just wonderful. I can see that you're already mindset. This is your second question. That's wonderful. And so just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm pretty sure you will be right here in my seat.
That's great advice. We only have time for one more question. This is from Abby in Michigan. What is the most exciting thing you've done so far? I know this is an amazing experience.
Well, Abby, one of the most exciting things I've done so far is being able to actually be right there with Herc. Found out some really interesting things, like the fact that he has a tiki for good luck on him, which I had no idea about. It was really interesting. It was great.
Well, sadly, that's all the time we have now. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I know it's late where you are, and thank you everyone for writing in your questions, the web audience questions. They've been great. Now, if you want to watch more live feeds from the Nautilus, you can go to nautiluslive.org. We have 24/7 feeds coming in from the ship there. Also, we have another question and answer session with Chief Scientist on the Nautilus, Katie Croft Bell, and that's happening on Tuesday, October 11th at 1:30 and 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on nautiluslive.org. And you can go to jason.org/live to look at the other live events that are coming up. Again, I'm Jessica here at Nautilus Mission Control. Keep on exploring.